is my review of Are You Lost Episode 3, Master of the Island. And honestly, given that title, I was expecting them to fight a giant boar or something, which, honestly, knowing Homura would not be that much of a trial. I'm sure the three would wet themselves and run screaming, but she could probably take out in 3 seconds. But no, thankfully, she is the master of the island beyond any doubt. Alright, I think it's best to summarize the episode by going over each of the other 3 characters, since that's really how the episode was divided. First, we get the athlete, and despite that name, she is probably the least useful among all of them. I mean, so far in every episode she's been exhausted, collapsed on the ground, dying of hunger, which I could understand if, being the athlete, she was doing stuff, physically moving things, lifting heavy rocks and throwing them at wild boars or something. Yeah, she's done essentially nothing, which makes it all the weirder that she is always so exhausted and dying of hunger. So she decides to go with Homeru to find food, and she finds a potato. It is clearly not a potato, but she is insisting over and over again that it's a potato, even having it talk to her and tell her, "I am a potato," which just, I mean, thankfully it says lead to us learning about the patch test, which probably one of the more useful things we've learned out of this series so far. If you're looking to see if something's poisonous, you cut in half, put it on your skin for 10 minutes and see if you react. And for whatever reason, she decides to offer up her bottom to be tested on. I think she meant this as a joke, and she was not actually expecting Homeru to slap her bottom with a potato, but she did. And as it turns out, it was incredibly poisonous, and would have almost certainly killed her if she'd eaten it. I mean, thankfully, we do see a little growth of her character in this episode. She is willing to actually eat the cicada, showing that she's, willing to do what needs to be done to survive. Even if she's not quite on Homer's level, and even if she is just an absolute idiot. Oh. Alright, then we get to Rich Girl, and her main concern is that she's missing her dog, which I understand. I'd miss my dog too if I was stuck on a desert island. Her dog is cute. Aww. Cute dog. Anyways, then she decides that the first thing they need above food, shelter, or water is a shower, which all the other girls agree with. They're like, but aren't we supposed to be worrying about dying of starvation? To which she replies, but what if the rescuers come and they think, oh my god, these girls smell so bad. The shame! And this convinces the other two, and Homeru basically says, well, good hygiene is important for survival. Alright, I'll do it. Which, I do have to wonder, I mean, can't they just bathe in the ocean? It's got, all that salt to disinfect stuff, doesn't it? I mean, again, I'm not a survival expert. I feel like the ocean would handle most of those needs. Anyway, she manages to build a shower, and a heated shower at that. Very impressive. I like the added touch, but it does have no real protection or anything, so she's basically showering naked in the woods, and she really seems to enjoy it. I'm not calling her an exhibitionist, but she's probably an exhibitionist. I mean, that look on her face really says it all. She doesn't even really seem to mind too much when the other two girls are watching her, so yeah, that's something fun to know about our rich girl. Alright, finally we get probably my favorite girl, the nerd. Big surprise there. And honestly, I think she's the best of this whole lot so far. I mean, she even says, everything I learned in school was useless, which, I mean, that takes a lot to admit to yourself. That's your thing, you're the nerd, you're smart. And what you're literally saying to yourself is, I'm bringing nothing to the table here. Everything I've done in my entire life up to this point was for absolutely nothing, and I'm starting over. But I still believe I can do it, and I like that. I'm proud of her for saying something like that. She's even willing to try new things, go in the water to help look for shellfish, and though she's a lot more shy than our rich girl, refusing to take off her shirt while she's in the water, which I understand. It's embarrassing. But just the fact that she was willing to go in the water to help to find food for all of them shows she's willing and happy to work, to help, to provide for the rest of them. As she says, those who don't work don't eat, and she believes that. She's really trying hard here. I absolutely love the line she says here to the hermit crab. It seems harsh, but by eating you, I'll be able to live. I mean, that's, survival 101. That's something you really have to realize in situation. You can't survive on your own. You can't survive without killing others, without eating others. Not people, hopefully, but whatever you happen to find. In this case, the hermit crab, whose innards look absolutely disgusting. I did not know hermit crabs look like that. Yeah. But, she's still willing to eat him. She's still willing to do what she has to do in order to survive. And again, that's a big step in any survival situation. The athlete had the same thing, where she realized that in order to survive, she'd eat the cicada, and she didn't like it. Well, she kind of liked the taste, but she didn't like actually, having to suck on a bug's severed head to get out their nourishment. Again, great scene for the nerd. She's really stepping up and proving herself useful on the island, even if physically she doesn't have any to offer and her intelligence isn't really helping too much here. We then learn about making fire, which I know I said the patch test is probably the most important thing we learned, but this, I mean, the way she does it basically looks like magic. She waves the twigs and all of a sudden fire starts pouring out of them. I'm like, are you a witch? You gotta tell us if you're a witch, because then we might have to burn you at stake, and you're the only one who knows how to make fire, so that'd definitely be problematic. They have a whole little feast on all the shells they found, which they find surprisingly delicious. Helpful, it's easier to eat food if it actually tastes good. This is something that I saw in Dr. Stone that I think would be interesting if they did here. Basically, he distilled the salt water from the sea to actually get salt that he could put on his food to make it more edible. Be curious if we see them doing that sometime in this series. I'm pretty sure salt also helps to preserve food so it doesn't go bad as fast. Be interesting to see. Next episode is Traps. And I saw a cave, so maybe we are actually going to see that whole wild boar thing I speculated on. That'd be interesting. At the very least, looks like they're going after a frog to cook and eat that. Oof, I think the girls are going to have a little more trouble with the frog than they did with the shellfish. I mean, the one girl literally passed out when she was told they were going to eat hermit crabs. Alright, so in order, Homero's still at the top, Nerd Girl's second. Athlete's third, then Rich Girl's fourth. I know I said I love that she has a dog and, she's willing to try new things like showering naked on a desert island, but so far she's been more of a hindrance than a help to all of them. I mean, at least Athlete Girl is now willing to try and eat a cicada. Even when they were eating all the shellfish, she waited for the others two to eat first and okay, is it edible? And then they ate it, and she's like, oh, based on your faces, it's really good, so I can eat it now, which... I mean, last episode, she definitely tried to make herself useful. I mean, she wanted to be praised for, finding the coconut, for finding something to help them out, and she just made things worse. Hopefully next episode, she does get some more focus where she actually does something useful. That'd be nice. So be sure to like and subscribe. Until then,
peace.